If you have a gut response to something that's like, this is the answer I've been looking for, then you can pay attention to that too, because your gut is not going to fail you. It's instinctual, it's survival, and generally it's not going to steer you wrong.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. I have my new best friend, Ronnie, with me today, and we are going to talk about our internal voice, that intuition, that thing, that knowing, and how to trust it. Like, I have millions and millions of thoughts, and they could be do this, don't do this, and they're sitting there, just that chatter in my brain. But what's that gut? What's that feeling of, yes, I can trust this direction? And how do I know it's the one I should take or not? So, Ronnie, help me understand these thousands of thoughts and which ones are intuition and which ones are doubt.
Wow, that's a big question. Okay. So, what works best from my experience with intuition is to practice, like the very conscious intention of practicing to use your intuition. And you can do that with very simple things. For example, you might spend, a week guessing what temperature it is outside before you look at the thermometer or your phone or whatever, or guessing who's calling. Sometimes you get really good and you know it's your mom or your daughter or whatever. You might also, if you have to drive someplace that there's more than one route, think about what route seems like the best route when you get in the car, and then check your GPS. And what I recommend is these simple little exercises have no risk to them. There's no pressure on you. There's no big emotional situation that you need to figure your way out of. They're just little things where you're practicing your intuition, which is what make them great practice. And then the best part about this practice is to write it down. Now, some people are like, I can't journal, la, la, la. It's not about journaling. This is an evidence journal, and you can just make bullet points. You could just write chicken scratching. I don't really care, but you would just say, Wednesday, I decided to take Route 84, and then I checked the GPS and it said Route 84 was the fastest way. Yay! Or I guessed it was 83 and it was 82. So I'm really close. That kind of thing. And then you can start to see evidence if you write it down that your intuition is getting stronger and your accuracy is improving. And then when you have thousands of thoughts in your head, you'll be able to start feeling like which one is your intuition because it's more intentional. There are times when your intuition will just fly into your head and you'll just know something or have a gut instinct about something or whatever that comes out of the blue. That's something you might want to pay attention to. But for the most part, I think about using intuition as a very intentional process where you tune in. And so you don't have to worry about all those thoughts you're having and drive yourself crazy over which ones are accurate or appropriate or guiding you and leading you because you would be using it more intentional rather than being a victim of your intuition.
My husband has extremely good intuition, and he does things like that. Like, he'll say, hey, what time is it? I'm guessing it's about this. And he's usually like within 5 minutes off. And it's like, like, why do you even ask me? Just think,
Yep. Yeah.
Because he's always so right. And he does this with other things too, like Christmas gifts. He can guess them before opening them. And
Mine
people
too.
try to trick him, like
That's funny.
like you will never guess this. One year, his mom gave him a compass. He's like, she's never going to guess this. He guessed it. How would you guess a stupid, like he's just so good at it. But
Amazing.
how do I'm like, okay, so if I start playing these games and I start doing, okay, instead of just looking at my watch and answering the question, like, I wonder what time it is, then I would think, I'm going to guess it's around 5. Look at my watch. If I'm off 3 hours, who cares? There's no risk involved.
Right.
But maybe I'll start learning to tune in and think further besides just spitting something out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you'll become familiar with what that feels like also.
That thought, the feeling of
Yes, the
uh,
practice of
okay.
right.
Like, if I did it with other things, like, how much do I weigh this morning? Or maybe I
Yes.
don't wanna do that, but
No. Well, or how much is the bill after lunch or dinner? Like, and guess what the bill is and see who gets closest or yeah. All those kind of things. There's a million opportunities all day long to practice without any crisis or pressure because people always start with, "Oh, I need to know if I should leave my husband." And I'm like, "No, that's not a place to start," you know? Like, they wanna take the biggest possible problem, and that's what they wanna start using their intuition on. I'm like, "No, you're, like, way too wrapped up in that. It's very tangly, there's so much to it. It's a complicated issue. That's not where you start using your intuition, right?"
well, and I wanna go to the gym and bench 250 pounds, but I've gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
And, it's that buildup. I'm gonna start with that just the bar, and then maybe I'll add some weight. And maybe eventually I'll be able to make that decision if I divorce my husband or not. But it's that building up the
Yes,
muscle to get
yes.
there. And if you knew I've done this before, like, go ahead, stack 50 pounds on there. I've done this before. I know I can handle it. It's the same with your intuition. It's like, I know that I can handle answering the time of day. I know I can answer, what temperature is it? Because I've been practicing, but I'm not sure this next harder one, like, oh my gosh, how should I approach my boss? That's the
Yes,
next step up. That's another set of pounds on your barbell or whatever.
yes.
So I do like this idea of building up. Um, but I know that I've also been able to trust some real major ones, like they just hit you out of the blue, like,
Right.
do this. And you go, okay, I am doing that.
Well,
So,
when that happens, though, you've had experience with that feeling. You've had, it's an instinct or a gut reaction or a thought out of the blue that wasn't something you were like, kind of lightly thinking about. So when it shows up like that, then you have learned to pay attention. So that is another way. And that's awesome if you have trained yourself to pay attention because I certainly have experiences in my life when I literally heard a voice in my head and chose to ignore it, right? So
you
I don't know
know,
if it's happened to you, but it's happened to me. So I'm like, okay. And, sometimes you need to learn the hard way, but I rather learn the easy way.
and it's funny that if it's really important, the universe is going to catch your attention no matter what.
Yes.
Like I had the time when I was like, oh, we should probably take a break on our we're on a road trip. And it's like, nah, let's just keep going. No, I want to take a break. I don't know why I want to take a break, and this thought going through. And then all of a sudden I got a migraine and it's like, oh, I'm supposed to take this exit.
There you
Because
go.
I cannot drive like this. And so there was an accident. There was things that happened after that I know that it prevented me from being involved in it too. But sometimes the universe screams at us,
Yes.
and sometimes it's a whisper. And it's if you ask and you get a feeling and you want to doubt it, I'm just like, do that feeling. One time it's like, if I ask, I make sure that I follow through because if I don't, they're not going to tell me again. But like, it's like I was not feeling well. And it's like, should I go to the emergency room? And I got a yes. And I go, frig, why'd I even ask?
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to do it. But
Yeah.
the funny
Yeah.
thing is they found something in the emergency room that wasn't anything that I was going through. And so it may not be like I kept thinking, this isn't a big deal. Why am I even asking? Because I had the feeling I should go. Then I questioned it. Then I was like, so I went. And the good thing I did, because it all turned out. But my symptoms weren't it. They just found something else. So trust. How would I know if I decided that I said no, that it was or isn't or was the right thing?
Yeah. It's hard. Trust, and I think that's why I encourage people to practice because trust builds over time. So if you're the kind of person like yourself, Laura, where you've had these moments where you've clearly known what you should do and you did them, that's awesome. Not everybody encounters that kind of loud messaging, whether it's a sense of knowing or a feeling or a seeing a vision or hearing something. Not everybody gets that right away. And so it's good that you do and that you follow through and listen. I'm a big believer in if you get a message, it's probably best to pay attention. So I'll tell you one of my favorite stories. It wasn't a dire thing, but I have I love to go to the beach, and it's a private beach that has a public walk on. So you can be below the high water mark. So, but you walk between these two houses that have tall cement walls, and there's a dog on one side. So every day that I go to the beach, the dog barks its head off at me, and it's a very big dog. And it can put the end of its paws and its head over the fence and bark its head up. And I'm afraid of big dogs because I'm little. So, so anyway, it's not a pleasant occurrence to get on the beach and to get off the beach. So one day as I'm leaving, I'm thinking, oh no, the dog's gonna come. And in my head, I heard, tell the dog you love it. And I'm like, what? No, say I love you to the dog. I'm like, first of all, I don't love dogs that are big like that and barking at me. And that wasn't a thought I would have ever come up with on my own. Certainly not. But I don't know why I actually listened to it. And I'm like, I just looked at the dog and I went, I love you. And it stopped barking. And then it did one of these things where, it tilted its head and looked at me. And then it kind of followed me, with its vision as I walked away and never barked at me for the rest of the summer. We'll see what happens when I go again this year. If it remembers me, but never barked at me again. It would get up and bark for everybody before me and after me, but not me.
Aw, maybe I should do that to the dog next door. He's a
Try it.
sweet dog, but when he wants, he can jump his head over the 6-foot fence, till you can see
Yeah.
he just wants to know what's going on, but he barks at the same time. And maybe if he just knew we were okay with him over there, he'd quit too.
Yeah, maybe.
It scares the grandkids.
Yeah, it could be territorial. I mean, who knows, right? But yeah, sometimes they just want to know they're loved. I don't know.
Doesn't everything, not that that's the topic of our conversation, but really love is what everybody's seeking in their own way.
Yeah.
I might need attention because I feel like that's love. Somebody else might need money because they feel that that's love. Someone might need sex because they feel like that's love. But we're all seeking that love or that satisfaction of I'm important and I belong. And our intuition should be able to tell us you're important and you belong, because what you're doing right now is what you're supposed to be doing. And remembering that and having that faith that maybe I didn't follow my intuition, but maybe that's what I was supposed to do. So I followed it again later. Maybe it's a reminder. So it's like, don't beat yourself up if you didn't follow your intuition.
Right.
Learn, grow, figure out why was it that I chose not to? Was I testing it? Was it what?
Right. And you may get another opportunity because a lot of times that's what happens. You didn't do it the first time, so there'll be another chance to try again.
Yeah, I had a friend that she says, I thought I had dealt with this problem, but it came back. And I'm like, it's probably a new layer. You probably did deal with it on so many levels. But sometimes they're so deep that as we clear up other things, a new one will pop up. And it's like, you didn't fail taking care of it or releasing it. It's just another level of it.
Love that.
And
I love that.
understanding that it's your intuition telling you, let's work on this.
Yeah.
Let's
I totally love that. And I agree with you. And I think of it as a spiral of learning where you're always moving up. And as you go around the spiral, you'll go around that same curve again, and you might encounter that same problem again. But you handle it different. It dissipates more quickly. You find better solutions. Whatever it is, you're getting another chance to learn. So that does happen, yes. And it doesn't mean you didn't learn it the first time. You're just getting another chance or deepen in the learning or whatever. Yeah.
I call them the pop quizzes of life. It's like, yeah, I learned it, but it's going to hit me in the face and say, did you really learn it? Did you really put it in? And it's my choice at that moment if I pass or fail that little test. And the failure is just a huger chance to learn again,
Yes.
practice,
Right.
find another solution. If you get through it and you go, I did this, it's not going to hit you again.
Yeah.
It's just going to test you and see if you really did let it go. And so, yeah. And, we're talking about intuition, and I think it all does tie together because it is our gut and it is how we give ourselves the grace to keep moving forward
Mm.
and not holding on to the old baggage.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
Well,
go ahead.
one of the things they say about your gut is that it's your second brain. And a lot of people talk about, the heart and there's the Heart Math Institute, and they talk about the heart coherence. And I know that's really big. But I'm going to say the heart has 40,000 neurons and your gut has 100 to 500 million neurons. So I'm huge on trusting your gut. If your gut says something, that there's a reason. And I, this gut instinct, gut reaction, that kind of thing, that goes back all the way to caveman days when we needed our gut reaction to tell us if there was a warning, like there's animals nearby or there's a restless tribe of somebody nearby. And it was about safety and security and taking care of your needs. It was survival instinct, basically. And so that is still with us, which is why our brains are still programmed for negativity because they're always on, we're on alert. We're still on alert. But your gut instinct is there to tell you what you need to know. And I'm a huge fan of trusting your gut. And it's there to help you, not to get in your way. So if you have a gut response to something that's like, I better not go there, that's a great message to heed. Or if you have a gut response that says, this is the answer I've been looking for, then you can pay attention to that too, because your gut is not going to fail you. And your gut isn't just a fear reaction, it's instinctual, it's survival, and generally it's not going to steer you wrong.
And you do really feel these things in your gut. It's
Yeah.
like, I think they name that because it really, when you just have that piercing that, oh, something's not right in this situation, turn around, listen. And if not, learn.
Yeah.
Either way, you're going to learn to listen or learn how to not get beat up. I don't know.
Well, even if it's a warning, it might not be a dire, like life and death kind of a thing, but it might be, do you really need to go eat lunch there today? Maybe you want to be someplace else because if you go someplace else, you're going to run into the person you were meant to talk to that day. And so it could just be redirection. It's not always some dire moment.
Oh, yeah. It's not always live or die.
Right. No.
Here's a path you could take that I think you'll like. It's still up to us to do it, right? I think one of the things that I know everyone I've ever talked to has is that intuition that you need to talk to somebody. Like, somebody's weighing on your mind. It's like, I gotta reach out. And I know I let one go for 6 months before I finally reached out. But, it's learn to not wait so friggin' long, like it was a beautiful thing. And had I done it 6 months earlier, it would have been amazing 6 months earlier. But sometimes we go, nah, they don't want to hear from me. Nah, they don't want to hear from me. But if you get that feeling, that's your intuition telling you there's something going on that you're
Yeah.
going to, it's going to be good for us.
Yeah. Well, we also have telepathy. And I don't talk a lot about telepathy, but that's how you know who's on the phone when somebody's calling. I have a few girlfriends, I always know what their ring is, which P.S. the ring always sounds the same, but I know who they are. I know who's calling, or if it's my husband, I know. And that's the telepathy where we are all connected. And I saw this great exercise once that they did as a team building kind of thing in business or corporate setting, where they took a ball of yarn and they put everybody in a circle that might have been several people deep all the way around. And they threw the ball of yarn all over the place. And wherever they threw it, they held it and then threw the ball. So it made like this crazy design back and
Yeah.
forth like a spirograph thing. But then what happens is if you pull it in just one spot, it really pulls the whole thing because we're all connected. And it was a beautiful visual analogy or metaphor for how we really are all connected. And that's what you're picking up on when you get this nudge to call somebody, or you know who's calling on the phone, or you see something, somebody else would love and you decide to get it for them or whatever. These things are your connection to other people or
Huh.
animals. It could also be animals.
Talk to me about that. I mean, are we connected to animals? They're just animals.
Well, I'm a newbie to Instagram, and the thing I love the most on Instagram are the animal videos. And I am shocked because I didn't grow up with animals and I don't have a pet, at how smart animals are. They're way smarter than I was ever taught, way smarter. And so, like, I saw one video of a crow, and there were like four little cups that were different colors that fit into each other. And the crow had to take one out to fit another one in and then put that one back into the smaller spot. And it knew how to do that. I'm like, what? Animals are like super intelligent. You see all those videos of animals presenting that, or like whales presenting, or even sharks presenting themselves to boats so that they can get help to get the big hook out of them or get the big nets cut off of them or whatever. So, yeah, I think we're definitely connected to animals. And I think we're connected to all nature because I think everything boils down to energy. That's the quantum physics, right? That's all there is electrons running around the neutrons and the protons in your little science lesson about the atom, right? And so everything boils down to electrons running around the nucleus. And so since everything is matter, everything boils down to that. Everything is mostly space. Everything is vibrational. Yes, we are all connected.
And when I questioned you about the pets, it's not because I didn't believe you. It's just, some of us, it's just foreign. But I
Yeah.
do truly believe that we are connected to all nature.
Yeah.
And that when we don't include nature in our daily lives, we drain ourselves, whether it's a little walk outside and saying hi to the trees or your dog or cat, there's a connection. And to me, dogs are so unconditional. They just
Yeah.
love people without any question. It doesn't matter if you just yelled at them, they still love you. Like, people don't do that. I yell at them and they're not mad for a month. But but a dog's right there and he's okay. And I wanted to, those silly plastic bracelets that they have that was, what would Jesus do? I've always wanted one that says, what would my dog do? Because he's my immediate, I see him, I know him or her, and I can see how they love you anyway. And how could I include that? And yes, Jesus has stories. I believe in him. I'm not saying that's the wrong thing, but you didn't watch it in action. You heard the stories of it in action. And so it's like, I know what my dog would do.
Right. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I understand what you're saying. Yeah. I think that I've had a lot of experiences of talking to all kinds of things intuitively, not literally. So, you know, um, I've gotten messages from trees or from my honeysuckle plant or my basil. One year I have a big garden in the summer, and one year the bugs they were just eating the heck out of my basil plants. And I don't want to put even a natural pesticide because you only eat the leaves, not the fruit. So I didn't really want to put anything on them, and I didn't know what to do about these bugs. And so I kept buying more plants because I thought that would be the answer. Anyway, at the end of the season, they got over whatever the bug thing was on their own. And at the end of the season, I had they were like giant bushes. So where normally I really only need one giant bush, I ended up with three or four. They were huge. And so I was looking at them and thanking them and harvesting basil. And what I heard was, you didn't trust us that we'd be okay. And you kept buying more plants. But look at us now, you know? So the next year, the same thing started to happen. And I thought, all right, I'm just going to have the 2 plants and that's it. And I'm going to trust that they're going to be okay. And somehow they get past that weirdness where the beetles or whatever it is are eating them. And they turn into these beautiful giant bushes again. And I'm like, thank you, basil. So they said, see, this year you trusted us. So I get these little messages when I'm just out there in the garden. I got a big message about joy from my honeysuckle plant. I have it was naturally occurring and it's growing up the wire fence. And it said to me, you are missing moments of joy all the time. I'm like, what? What are you saying? What do you mean I'm missing moments of joy? And it proceeded to tell, give me a message that I'm busy. I'm busy going here and doing this and getting this done and thinking and all this stuff. So that I'm missing moments of joy that could be there, that could be mine, that I could enjoy. But I'm missing them. And I'm still working on that because that's who I am. I get things done and I like to go visit people and go to places and do stuff. So I don't have a lot of time where I'm just being. But I think that's the lesson on some of the joy is that the joyful moments, they're not though, it's not like graduation. That's like a huge moment of joy. But the ones that really fill out your life are the little teeny ones. Like when you see a hummingbird and it's so magical, that's
Mhm.
like a joyful moment. It's the little moments that kind of create the joy in your day. Little moments of joy, but they count because your life is all the little moments.
Well, and we get what we look for, and
Yeah.
we're not in the world where we teleport everywhere. It takes time to get from here to your friends or here to that thing. And why not on your commute look for 3 things that are beautiful? Like,
Ooh.
oh my gosh, look at the cloud. That is so cool. And you're bringing these glimpses of I'm looking for joy into your life right now instead of I'm too busy, I'm commuting. And I'm not dishing on that because I've been that person over and over again. But when I can go, oh my gosh, look at the sunrise. Look at how beautiful the sun is sitting on the mountains. Or look how beautiful the beach is today. Or,
Yeah.
it's these things that we take for granted.
Yes.
And it's like, do we really want to let it go? It's like, well, that's stop and smell the roses. It's as simple as looking for that one thing of beauty. And you can change from the busy, busy, busy to I'm finding joy in the process.
Yeah. You're reminding me of a story where I went to visit some friends in San Francisco. I live in Connecticut. And they lived on in a 4-story building and it had a walk up and you could get to the roof. And so they would go out and look at the sunset every day. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Every day you go look at the sunset. So I'm like, okay, I'm here. I'm going to do when in Rome. We went up to look at the sunset and it was so lovely. And it was a beautiful sunset with all the colors you can imagine. What was amazing was after the sun went down, and I didn't notice this in front of me, but when I looked behind me, I could see all the people on all the other roofs who were looking at the sunset. And I was so taken with that. I thought, that's so amazing. It's not just this little group of 4 of us in this building, but it's people everywhere. They were doing that, taking time out to watch the beauty of the sunset. I don't know. That was almost bigger to me than looking at the beauty of the sunset to see I was in company of others and didn't even know it, doing the same thing as me. It was amazing.
That is such a good point because sometimes we feel so alone. We feel like we're the only ones trying to be nice or follow our intuition or help other people, whatever it is. You feel alone, but sometimes we just need to look and you're not. And other people are trying to make the world a better place too. And it's beautiful. But I think, and all of this comes right down to trusting your intuition. It's like how now that I've started to identify it, now that I've started to pay attention to it and say yes or no when I say no, what is it that I'm learning from saying no? Because one book says, we're not here just to learn, but I might not be, but I'm taking advantage of it. It's like,
Good for you. That's a
I'm,
great attitude.
it's like we may not be here just to learn, but it seems like everything I do teaches me. Like, I'm not the same person I was yesterday because I went through some new experiences. Did I use them and implement them in my life, or did I ignore them? Either way is fine. Doesn't matter. But what did you
Right.
do? And identifying it and knowing that I'm on a path.
Yeah.
It
Well,
might
you
be the
value.
scenic route.
Yeah. You value learning. So that's important to you and you're open to that, which is great. Using your intuition, I think of intuition as a way of life. Using my intuition is how I live. And that's what I mean about making it intentional. I can't remember the university that said we make 35,000 decisions a day. Cornell University did a study. 35,000. I don't know about you, but that number is really tiring.
I don't
So,
want to do 35,000 in anything. I mean, I'm thinking about that and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted already. But yeah, do I brush my teeth now or in 5 minutes? Do I comb my hair? And then, they might be minor,
most of them,
superficial. You don't think anything about it.
yes.
Oh, I feel it itch on my back. Do I scratch it now or later? They're decisions. All of it is a
Yes,
decision.
yes,
And then there's so many that are unconscious
yes.
because you just do it.
Right. Well, we couldn't possibly process 35,000. So, the intuition can do for you is when you get to that place where you're just unsure because things are going to come up and you just don't know. And a lot of times you don't have perfect information. Either you don't have time to get the information or you've taken time to research things and look things up and you still can't decide. There's not a clear winner. You made a pro and con list and you still didn't get any farther. That's when your intuition can make the biggest difference because you need that inner wisdom, that inner knowing, especially when you're starting to trust it to help you make that choice because you don't have perfect information. And so you just have to go with your gut. So that's another place where intuition can really be a huge help. I've had my intuition save me money, save me time, save me aggravation, save me heartbreak, all kinds of things because I listen to it, I rely on it, and I live consciously in choosing to work with my intuition.
So let's go back to the exercises. So simple things. This is what we're going to do this week, right? Simple things to help build our intuition. Oh, someone just rang the doorbell. Do I guess who it is, then look at the ring video, or do I just,
Yes, that's a
it's like,
great example. Or if you went to the grocery store and you could make 5 different things, which one would be best for you tonight? Best for you for health, or best for you for time, or best because the family would like it more. You get to decide what's the deciding factor, but say, what's best for my family out of all these things I could make and see what you find out. So you can use it through some of the little things, which is the best checkout station. Where's the line the shortest? Where's it going to go? It's everywhere. It's really everywhere, and you don't have to exhaust yourself because you don't have to do this constantly. But when you have the time, what I love about it is when you can do it while you're doing something else. So you're not taking time out to practice intuition. Like I am not here to add to your day your daily list of activities. I am all about doing something while you're doing something else because I want it to be simple and easy. So if you're in the grocery store, pick which line. If you're at home and you're going to cook, pick what you're going to, use your intuition to pick what you're going to make. You can do it while you're doing everything else. If you go for a walk, you can ask your questions then about whatever you're working on that you need assistance with. You don't have to take time out apart from something else to use your intuition.
I'm a stacker also. If I can do my meditations while I'm brushing my teeth, do it. If I can do my mantras while I'm in the shower, do it. I'm going to
Yes.
be taking this time anyway. Why not stack some stuff
Yes.
onto it?
Yes.
So it's however you do it. I'm never going to jump. Well, I shouldn't say never. I usually enjoy laying in bed for 5 to 10 minutes before I jump out. What can I do then? You know, stack your activities.
That is a great time to deal with your intuition, to use it and to practice it, because when you first wake up, you're in that in-between place where you have greater access actually to that subconscious mind and to your inner wisdom. So that is a fabulous time to consider working with your intuition or talking to your angels or asking your higher self for help about something or whatever. It's the perfect time.
And we all have that different language. Some of it is our gut instinct. Some of it is intuition. Some of it is angel prompting. Some of it, whatever you call it, is what it
Yes.
is okay. For the sake of what we've talked about today, telepathy and intuition, and we just kind of blended them all together.
Yes.
Have the language, use the language you want, but trust those things that come to you, whether it's your angel or source or yourself. It
Yes.
doesn't matter where it came. If you start trusting those voices that are here to support you, that's when you start hearing them. It's like,
Yes.
listen for them. Same as like driving down the road. Let me name 3 things that I think are beautiful. It's that same practice. It's there anyway.
Yes.
Focus on it.
Yeah. I love that. And that's what I call magic. To me, it's all magic, whether it's intuition or gut instinct or seeing the beauty in something or hearing a message from my honeysuckle plant or seeing a hummingbird, which is always fun to me. All of that to me is the magic of life on earth. And you can connect with that magic in any moment because it's always there. It's always there for you. It's just a conscious choice. It's a willingness to be open to it, to notice it, to think about it, and to respond.
And if you're 5 minutes off, it didn't matter. I don't think you, it's just to be close enough.
Yeah.
We're not life or death in so many of our decisions. And as long as it's pointing me in the direction that's going to work, I may have to adjust again, but I'm going in the right direction for what it is today. I've been on some rope courses where they have this string and you're supposed to follow it blindfolded, and there's all these split offs.
Oh my gosh.
You follow this, you choose what split off you're going to go to. And some people make it straight through to the end, and some people go back and forward, back and forward. And it's, what is that intuition? But maybe you weren't supposed to get to the end immediately. Maybe there was an experience down the path you took that was for you. And that's where I want us to start trusting the paths we're on. Just because somebody else there got there faster or somebody else got more, it doesn't matter. It's trust that what you got is what was meant to be.
Yeah. Well, that's what I think it was Robert Louis Stevenson who wrote, I took the path less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Is that who wrote that? I forget.
I don't remember, but there's so many different path ones, but it's like there's the straight and narrow. And it's like,
Yeah.
maybe that one's not for you. I always say I take the scenic route. I don't want to be so focused on the goal that I'm just going forward, 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 forward. Don't look anywhere. I want to look and enjoy. I am taking the scenic route and enjoying life. And if you want to get there fast, that's okay too. Get there, but appreciate the path you're on.
Robert Frost, just to be clear.
Oh, I do that too. I was like, who was that?
It was Robert Frost. But yeah, that when you can enjoy the path, aren't you winning? Aren't you enjoying? Aren't you living your best life? I mean, being authentic, when you can do that, you're on the right path.
And your best life is not George's best life.
No,
It's not Henry's best life or Johnny's or all the female names too. We all have our own best life. And
Yeah.
when we can allow them to live their lives and us to flourish in ours is when I think we kind of have that love. When I can love you so much that the path you're on is okay and the path I'm on is okay, doesn't that feel so much better than wanting to change somebody else's path?
Yeah.
Like we're married or have a significant other or have a child and we start, oh, they should do this. They should do that. You know what? It's their path. It's like,
Yeah.
let them learn their lessons. It's not all about me.
Yeah. I know.
Damn
Not
it.
always easy, but it's a wise choice, Laura. I'll tell you that. It's very wise.
Oh, Ronnie, this has been fun to chat about intuition. And I do really like the idea of these small challenges that help build our confidence in what answering or what the intuition sound like. So let's get a quick break. Let's have a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. Come back and let's close out. Let's learn a little bit more about Ronnie. We'll be right back.
This is Adam Adams, co-founder of Optimized LLC, where we take the guesswork out of your health. If you're feeling exhausted, struggling with weight, or just not feeling yourself anymore, your hormones might be the problem. And that's why we test, not guess. Analyzing your blood work to pinpoint exactly what's holding you back. At Optimized LLC, we help you rebalance your hormones, boost energy, and reclaim your life. Don't settle for normal. Aim for optimized. Just go to optimize.com to book your free introductory coaching call. It's a free call to help you take the first step toward feeling your best.
All right, Ronnie, tell me a little bit more about you, what you do, how we can get a hold of you. And it can be the same thing as we've already talked about, but what's that one thing we can practice this week that will help us?
Okay. So, I'm an intuitive coach and wise woman, I call myself. And what I do is work with midlife women who are ready to rise to the next level, whatever that is for you. It's totally up to you because I take a fresh and transformative approach to your spiritual growth and your personal development. And I want to help you embrace joy and creativity and magic so that you can create a life you love. And that's really what I do. So I do coaching and I have some groups and that kind of thing. I do readings for people. And my website is intuitiveedge.biz. And the one thing that you can do is, I would say, pick your practice. I really do think just pick something that seems like fun to you, or pick a couple of things if you're adventurous, and decide, I'm going to do this for a week. I'm going to write it down like she said. We're going to see what happens. Because I think you'll be very surprised in a positive way to see how it works, and you're tapping in so easily. You know, it took me 7 years to break through to get my intuition working, and now people do it in the snap of a finger. The energy's different. Things are much easier. And I know that if you're willing to try it, you're going to have good experience. So that's what I hope for you. Give your intuition a shot because it'll be there for you. It'll guide you and it'll help you when it comes time to make some tough decisions if that's required.
You know, it's all about trust. And we need to trust ourselves first, right? Trust those
Absolutely.
feelings, those things that are here for us. And nobody else is hearing them. They're for you.
Yes.
Or they'll hear them if they're for them. So,
Yeah.
Ronnie, I really appreciate you coming on the show today, sharing your wisdom about intuition. The information about you is in the show notes, so our friend can jump down there and get a hold of you. Thank you, friend, for joining, and let's stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you so much.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Laura Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss the next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.